All right, this is an interesting one because I really did think after the Zilli Zhang fight, the Deontay Wilder Zilli Zhang fight, that Deontay Wilder, although he did kind of talk about maybe carrying on, I thought eventually he would probably sail off into the sunset, but it might not be the case because on seconds out here it says Deontay Wilder offered one last chance at reviving career against British heavyweight. This is according to Seconds Out on their website. Deontay Wilder's career is on the ropes following two back-to-back losses in Saudi Arabia. His attempt to get back to winning ways, following on from the Joseph Parker defeat, was as tough as they come against feared Chinese southpaw Zilli Zhang, who was coming off a distance loss against Joseph Parker. The Big Bang dealt with the Bronze Bomber, who said pre-fight that he may consider retirement if he lost within 5 rounds. Since then, the hard-hitting former WBC heavyweight champion has been under the radar. Should he want to fight on Riyadh seasons, Turki Al-Sheikh is willing to welcome him back a third time. In an interview with Charlie Parsons on the Stomping Ground, he was open to the idea of a fight against British heavyweight Dereck Chisora, but made it clear that the first two fights he staged were not up to par. They asked me about Wilder Chisora, this is according to Turki Al-Sheikh, and I said, clearly, if he is getting himself back, why not? But believe me, I tried 2 times and it's not happening. Al-Sheikh backed up his position in a reply to a fan who asked for Wilder to face Chisora or his most recent opponent, Joe Joyce. Again, he said, why not? If Wilder still has it, why not? Chisora is 48 fights into his campaign and is adamant he will make it to 50 before retirement. His win over Joe Joyce, a hard-fought decision, helped by a late knockdown, gave fans some faith that he still has what it takes to do it. He has in the past called for a Deontay Wilder fight, where both men are at in their careers right now, makes it more likely than ever before. That is that there. So Turki Al-Sheikh potentially offering Deontay Wilder a career lifeline against Dereck Chisora. The only issue there, well, there's a variety of issues, but let's talk with the first one is that Chisora has talked about having 2 more fights following on from the Joe Joyce fight. He was in the post-fight interview, I think kind of alluding to retirement, but he did say it was his last fight in London in the O2. He will then have 1 more fight in Manchester. This is Dereck Chisora, culminating in his final fight in Africa. So yeah, that if it's going to be in Riyadh season and if it's going to be a Riyadh show, you would imagine it's probably going to be most likely in Saudi Arabia. I don't know, will they be doing Riyadh in Manchester anytime soon? I mean, I doubt it, but you would imagine if they do another Deontay Wilder fight or if it's Wilder Chisora, likelihood is that's going to most likely be in Saudi Arabia. Now, Chisora has said that he wants to do next fight in Manchester, final fight in Africa. I think I forget where he said, was it Zimbabwe he said potentially of doing it or somewhere along those lines. Either way, Saudi Arabia, I'm just assuming it will be in Saudi Arabia, a bit different in Manchester. We've certainly heard no talk of any Riyadh shows other than the one in London coming up in September happening. It's mainly been, pretty much full steam ahead with, Riyadh shows in Saudi Arabia. I don't know what way they're going to do it. In terms of Deontay Wilder, does he deserve really another crack at the whip? At the end of the day, right, I thought, and this goes to show how if you match someone very carefully, and you match them against the right opponent, someone who they know and they know they could look devastating against, you can think that fighter, who maybe is way past his best, can still look quite good. And obviously that was the case with Deontay Wilder against Robert Helenius. Went in there, knew Robert Helenius, at the back of his hand, knocked him out in the round, looked good, didn't do anything. Didn't do anything for over a year. Went in there with Joseph Parker, looked a shell of himself. He really did look a shell of himself. And that was a fight where if he'd had come through it, would have set up an Anthony Joshua fight. He then gets another chance on the Matchroom Queensbury 5v5 show. And even in the run-up, you just kind of thought, right, do we have any faith in Deontay Wilder? I mean, he's saying all the right things. He's saying he's got his killer instinct back. He's saying he's got his hunger back, his fire back, this, that, and the other. But, do you believe him? You look at the Joseph Parker performance and you think that it's not even been 6 months. How does he go from that to being back to his old self just like that? You know, what's changed? And the reality was nothing has changed. He looked worse, if anything, in the Zhilei Zhang fight. He ended up getting taken out. You see, with the Parker fight, he didn't really take any punishment. Yeah, he got buzzed a little bit in round 8, but he didn't take any punishment. He didn't take a great deal of punishment in the Zhang fight prior to the knockdown, and then ultimately he got taken out. But it's another knockout loss. And this is probably the clearest one. Well, they've all been pretty clear, actually. The clearest one, actually, was the Fury one in the trilogy fight. But it's another knockout defeat. And you just think, how do you come back from that? How do you actually come back from that? And against someone like a Dereck Chisora, who I think, if you were talking about peak Dereck Chisora against peak Wilder, I would favour Deontay Wilder definitely to win that fight. I think he'd knock Dereck Chisora out. Now we don't have a peak Deontay Wilder. We don't have a peak Dereck Chisora, but we have a Chisora who still comes to bring his A game. He still tries to get as much of himself out as he can. Whereas Deontay Wilder, there's nothing there. There's just such a lack of urgency. There's a lack of everything. And I don't think that anything you can do is going to really change that. And Turki Al-Sheikh, you got to respect him for trying. He's obviously a fan of Deontay Wilder. He obviously looks at the old Deontay Wilder that we all know and love, the Wilder who knocked out Stavern in the round, the Wilder who knocked out Luis Ortiz in the 10th round, who rallied from a very bad 8th round to come back and knock him out in the 10th round, the Deontay Wilder who was just, he could lose every minute of every round to land that one shot, and he normally would, and take his opponent out. The guy who had so much fire in his belly. You look at that Deontay Wilder and you think, that's who I want. But the problem is, we don't have that Deontay Wilder anymore. We haven't had him since 2021, really. That's the last time we had him, in that trilogy fight against Tyson Fury. After that, we've not had him since then. We should see a little glimpse of it against Robert Helenius, but that was a false dawn. That really was a false dawn in that fight. Because we've not had it since then, I don't think. And even prior, I don't think we've had it since 2021. I don't think we'll get it if we see him again. And I think at this point now, we really are just flogging a dead horse around. Deontay Wilder is not going to show us anything new if we see him on one of these shows. I don't think. Does he even deserve a lifeline after 2 back? And see, Turki Al-Sheikh is someone he's willing to work with you. But as he said himself, 2 subpar performances. I can't see him giving him a third one. Now, he's saying it now, and maybe he'll prove me wrong, and he will. But I can't see him giving Wilder a third one. I really can't. And against Chisora, listen, that fight will probably be actually a decent scrap right now. I can't believe I'm even saying this, but I would probably favour Chisora at this minute in time. Because although Chisora is a fighter who, he certainly doesn't have it in him to fight 3 minutes of every round anymore. I think he just outworked Deontay Wilder. And to be honest with you, I think he just outworked Deontay Wilder and will probably be able to get through with something. And I just don't see what Deontay Wilder has to be able to keep Dereck Chisora off him. And with the way Wilder's been looking lately, I don't even think he has enough dog in him to be able to even take what Chisora has and come back swinging and even make it through the midway of a fight. I could see Deontay Wilder just saying, the hell with this. Enough's enough mid-fight. Seriously, I never thought I'd really see that with Deontay Wilder, but that's what I've been seeing in his last 2 performances. There's just nothing there. There's no fire, there's no hunger, there's no dog. Deontay Wilder has done what he's needed to do in boxing. He's become world champion. He set himself up for life. And you see it in him now. He's, at the start of his career, he was fighting to support his daughter. Very noble. And he did that. He fought to prove that he was the best. He wanted to be WBC champion. He became WBC champion. He fought to keep it. What has he got left to fight for? Nothing. And you can see it in his performances. No matter what he says, you can see that the reality is he's fighting for nothing. He's got nothing to fight for. And he's got no hunger for the game anymore. He's happy to pick up these paydays, but he's got nothing else. With Chisora, it's quite amazing because although he's never been champion, financially Chisora is extremely well off. I mean, he's got generational wealth, but he still is able to find it in him to bring out these performances when he needs them. And he did it against Joe Joyce. I certainly didn't think he had that performance in him proved me very much wrong. So him against Deontay Wilder, at this point I'd be making Chisora favourite. And do I think Wilder would get another crack? I mean, he probably will. They probably will say third time's the charm, and after that it's done. But at this minute in time now, if he goes in there again against someone like a Chisora and say he loses, that'll be what his fifth loss. And to especially someone like Chisora, I mean, that would really... I already think that the wins Fury has over Deontay Wilder have aged like milk. You know, they really have. They've aged terribly. If he goes in there and loses against Chisora, I mean, seriously, people. Those wins that the Fury fanboys love to say, you know, Klitschko and Wilder are they're blah, 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 blah. Well, the Klitschko wins, yeah, very good still. But the Wilder win, I mean, that's going to age like milk. I mean, that really will just be like, well, you know, what really, how good was Deontay Wilder? Yeah, he was unbeaten when Fury fought him, but look at the guys he's lost. He's lost to an ancient Chisora. I think it'll age terribly. I think that will hurt Tyson Fury. It'll hurt everyone. So that's my thoughts on that. Let me know your thoughts. Turki Al-Sheikh seemingly willing to offer Deontay Wilder one last chance. I think deep down, Turki still really wants to do. I to be honest with you, I think that's maybe the reason why he's flogging this dead horse around, is that he still desperately wants to do. Because Turki Al-Sheikh, he is a fan. You can tell that. And when there's a fight he wants to see, it just seems like no matter what, he just wants to get this fight made. And two of the fights he seems really desperate to see are Joshua versus Fury and Joshua versus Wilder. And I get the impression that if he sees even the slightest semblance of a way to make that fight, he will. And that's probably what he's hoping for. He's probably hoping that we'll see that little snippet of the old Wilder that he can say, yeah, there you go, yep, let's make Joshua Wilder. He's back. Now it's competitive. Buy the fight. Because I tell you now, had Deontay Wilder, well, we know if he come through Joseph Parker, we would have got the Joshua Wilder fight in March. We know that. But had he come through Zhilei Zhang on that Matchroom Queensbury show, no doubt in my mind in the slightest, we would not be seeing Dubois versus Joshua. We'd be seeing Wilder versus Joshua. No doubt in my mind. And it wouldn't matter if there was no belt on the line. Obviously, there is for this one, the Dubois-Joshua fight, there is. But if it had been... If Wilder had come through, no doubt in my mind, we'd have seen that fight at Wembley Stadium. They would have just said, no, doesn't need a belt, doesn't need a title. Joshua Wilder would sell itself. There we go. And I think that that's what Turki is hoping for. He's hoping to get either Fury versus Joshua or Wilder versus Joshua, one or the other. And he's hoping that Wilder can show him something, that he can make that fight, and that can at least... Because if you made that fight now, so let's say hypothetically speaking, let's say you still made Wilder versus Joshua. Let's say Joshua beats Dubois and Wilder has no fight, they made Wilder Joshua. It'd tank. There'd be no appetite to see it. If you could sell it as Deontay Wilder is back, the Bronze Bomber is back, the Killer Instinct is back, it would bring in that danger element, that you could use that little bit of danger to sell it and be like, well, Joshua's in trouble because the Bronze Bomber is back. We don't have that Bronze Bomber now. And I think Turki is hoping to see that little snippet of him that you can sell that. That's what I think he's trying to do. Don't think we have that Wild. Don't think we'll ever get it again. But Turki is obviously hoping we can. I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, you haven't already.